Guess who got a butterick? Absolutely simple machine. Straight out the box, set it up, sewed no problem. Love the quilting table, nice and big, allows you to move things around. I got it yesterday, set it up, sewed a cushion cover and a vanity bag, like you do. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Didn't have to do much to set it up to suit myself. So today I thought we'd do a garden cushion with some pockets, because I've got to put my books in, need somewhere to put my phone. And as you can see behind me, weather is fabulous. I want to be outside. So what I've done, I got some absolute darling fabric. For anybody in Wales, Bridge End Fabrics. Absolutely wonderful. So that's my main fabric. And as always, when I go shopping, I get a fabric to match. So together, if I can get myself out of a knot, they're going to look absolutely fabulous. So, just pick these bits up I dropped. What you'll need, as I make my own cushions, I've made a cushion that's 24 by 24. So I've cut my fabric at 24. Obviously, if you make your cover at 24 and your cushion is actually 24, it's going to give a lovely plumpness to it. So that's my front piece, 24 by 24, really simple. I've then got the pocket that's going to go across. That's 11 inches by 24. This is the back lining for the pocket, because obviously you need a lining in your pocket. That's 9 by 24. Reason that's smaller than that is when I sew them together, turn them, press it, I'm going to get a nice fold going into the inside of my pocket that I can top stitch, and it's just going to give it that pretty look. My back pieces, I have two, and I have a zip that hates me. Zip, I've cut it 27. I like a longer zip because then you can pull it back off your fabric and you don't have to worry about moving it when you're sewing your zip in. Top piece is 4 inches by 24. Bottom piece is 20 inches by 24. I've also made a little strap. I want a little handle at the back of my cushion, so when I'm coming in, I can just pick it up and walk away with my book and my phone and everything still in it. Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, I'm going to do the pocket. Really simple. Right sides together. My cotton hasn't got a right side. As my seam allowance, I'm just using my foot as guide. Okay, so them two very simply together. Turn it so that the wrong side's together, right side's out. And this is where the iron is needed. Try and turn you with me. Please excuse the mess. I got myself in a bit of a creative mood this morning. Very simply press, don't use steam, that can stretch some of your seams. And back we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the back side of the fabric and I'm actually going to top stitch from the back. The butterick stitch is nice from both sides, so it's good. I'm just going to use the foot along the join line as a guide. And there we have a nice little stitch going along the top. Okay, pop that to one side for the minute. Next piece is the back with the zip. This is going to go along the top and it's going to fold over the zip to conceal the zip. So very simply, we need to attach it first. Change foot to zipper foot. It's a zipper foot. With a zip, that's the right side of the zip where the zipper will be. Turn it over, put it facing the right side of your fabric. At this bit you may want to tack along. I find it easier not to tack. I don't use pins because the pins ruche the zips. You just line the zip with your fabric, line your zipper foot up next to it. A couple of locking stitches and off we go. You just take it nice and steady, it's simple to pop a zip on the top. No push and pulling, no wrestling with the fabrics. Okay, so that's the top section attached. Now we need to attach the bottom section. Okay, need to line up your 2 pieces of fabric and the zip along the top. Needle in the down position and a couple of back stitches. Because this is a big cushion cover, you keep needing to move your fabric so that everything flows through nice and easy. Okay, so zip in. What I'm now going to do is top stitch the bottom of the zip, that's the bit with the long piece of fabric, and then with the top bit of fabric, after I've top stitched the bottom piece to keep it out of the way, I'm going to bring it over so it laps over slightly and then top stitch that one like that. And it helps if I start the right way around. When I'm top stitching my zips down, I use the zipper foot edge as a guide along the edge of the fabric, and that seems to give me a nice line. I've just got my threads caught around my sewing thread. Because there's plenty of space on this butterick, you can roll your fabric and it'll just slide straight through. And I nearly pulled my zip off the end. Okay, so we've stitched along just to keep that bit out of the way. Now I find this easiest if I fold the fabric back as though I was sewing it again, and then I aim for putting it at the end of the zip. Now this is where I do use pins. I would be sewing on this side, I'm going to pin on that side of the zip. If you pin either end, you should be able just to gently fold it back and finger press it into place. Okay, so from the zip side, we're just going to sew along the same stitch line as when we put the zip in. And just take them pins out. Okay, so what we have now it's quite hard to see with the light behind me, is a little flap that covers the zip. Just quickly measure and we're spot on. Okay, at this stage also I want to pop that handle onto the back of my cushion. What I'm doing on my lap, I'm folding it in half. I want it on the upper half, nearer the zip. About central. I'm not too finicky about this one because it's a garden cushion. Right, just quickly show. What I've done, I've lifted it just a tiny bit when I've pinned it in place, and I'm just going to sew a couple of lines, a square, at either end, just to hold it in place. And take my zipper foot off because we're finished with the zip now. And we'll start with the locking stitches and needle in down position. If the needle's in the down position, when we go to turn the fabric, we're keeping our stitch line. using the lines that I've sewn on the strap itself when I popped it together. When I made the strap, I actually used a bias maker. I like my gadgets. I cut a 2-inch strip and put it through my lodger's maker, really quick. And then, I'll show you this bit. That's what I came out with. I then took the long strip, folded in half, folded the little ends in, and just top stitched down either side. Needle in down position, a couple of back stitches, and we're just doing a little square. Again, the fabric's so easy to move around on the butterick because of the space you have. And this lovely extension table just makes it so much easier to work with bigger projects. I do have a linen top that I want to make in the next couple of days, and this is going to be a godsend. I'm just having a quick think there. I'm sewing through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 layers of fabric. This is good heavy cotton. It's more sort of curtain upholstery grade cotton, and the butterick went through it like butter. I do just have a standard needle in. I don't have a heavy needle in. Maybe I should have changed it to a heavy, but this is going through it no problem. Okay, front of the cushion. I'll just pop the sewing machine back a little bit. What we need to do is attach the pocket. Pocket that we prepared. Nothing technical on this one, just lining it up with the fabric. What I'm going to do is pop a couple of pins in for the moment, and then I'll quickly do a tack and stitch around it to hold it in place so that when we put it all together we don't have any shifting. What I do want to do before I stitch it all together though is, this is a huge pocket across the front, and when I pick my cushion up, my book, my phone, whatever I put in there, my Kindle, my iPod, whatever, it's just going to slip straight out. So once I've done around the outside, I'm going to come back and I'm going to put a couple of rows of stitching along the pocket itself. I think I'll do a slim one towards the end, and I'll leave 2 bigger ones at either side. Totally up to you what you want to do, it's your design. Oh. Right, as this is a tacking stitch, I'm just going to lengthen my stitch on the butterick. You have 4 arrows. The up one will lengthen the stitch. I'm going to put it on a 4.6. I'm just whizzing around to keep it in place. What you need to remember when you're doing this is you need to keep your stitches below what your stitch line's going to be on the finished product. So if you're using your foot as a stitch guide, you need to bring it in a little bit, that's all. I'm not one for sort of 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. It's not set in stone, it's just how you sew. Okay, that's the pocket, upside down, locked into place now. Take out my pins. I want to pop this back down to the size I was sewing at originally. Easiest way with any computerized machine is just switch it off, switch it back on. We're done. Normally I would get my phone and go, oh, about that size, but if I do that, I put you in the pocket. If you're worried about stitching in the middle of fabric and finding your straight sewing line, pop a bit of tape on your sewing machine. Masking tape, electrician's tape. Just take a little bit out. This stuff's sticky but not too sticky. Pop it straight on your machine, like so. And if I pull the fabric out of the way, you might be able to see it. Just sew along using that as your guide. When you get to the top of your pocket, remember that that's the bit where the stress is going to be. Make sure that you've done your locking stitches. I go down to the top stitching backwards, and then I go forwards again, and then I lock with another couple of stitches. Okay, don't know if you can see, but there's the stitch line. I'm actually sewing in a beige colour because it contrasts nicely with, if you look, a tiny weeny bit of beige, grey beige there. Okay, so now I've got this much left. Ooh, can't get it in the shot. There we go. So I'm going to do about half. Or to make it easier, if I turn you just slightly, I'm going to use the edge of my extension table as a guide. So in, a couple of back stitches, and then off we go. As you can see, I'm not really watching the needle. I'm watching the side of the table to make sure I'm going in a nice straight line. Not really too fussed if it's off a little bit. Backwards to the top stitching line, forwards again. Just over where the fabric stops for the pocket, and then a couple of stitches backwards. Okay, pocket is attached. Now comes the fun part. We have to pop all this together. So if we shuffle round to my cutting boards, grab my pins, this fabric's nice and strong and heavy, so I'm hoping nothing's twisted or turned and we can just get on and pop them together. Okay, so I'm laying out the fabric so that the pocket is there. I know that's the bottom of my cushion because I can't put my pocket at the top or I'll drop everything out. So the zip, which I forgot to cut my threads off, has to go at the other end. What I need to do before I sew it all together is, because I left my zip long, pull my zip back, and what I do, I line up the zip after I've pulled it back, because remember we're going to need the zip open to pull the cushion through on itself. So anyway, I line the zip up. Because I've got that cover over the zip, I can use that to pop a pin in. And we do the same along the zip, just to keep everything nice and square. And another one just so that it doesn't pull apart. All I'm doing is leaving a gap so I can get my hand through and pop the pin out once we've sewn the cushion together. Okay, let's see how we're cooking. Sides are lining up well, lined up the bottom. Again, a couple of pins in. We're just holding it together so that we can sew around the outside. And we'll get an inch over on the top, not to worry. When I go round with the overlocker to tidy up all my edges, it'll whip that inch off the top there. So as you can see, a little bit up at the top. That's just because I left an allowance for putting the zip in and putting the cover over the zip. And back to the sewing machine. Round we go. Okay, I like to start with the sides first. Don't know why, it's the way I prefer to do it. And again, locking stitches, needle in the down position in case we have to stop and manoeuvre. Okay, we're going to come up to the zip, gently does it, but Rick manages it with no problem whatsoever. Down to the bottom, a couple of locking stitches, needle up, again. I've went to the opposite side now to sew. I don't like to go round in a circle because you can twist the fabric when you're sewing round in a circle. Personal preference, some people like to do it that way, I don't. A couple of locking stitches, make sure your needle's in down position in case we have to stop and manoeuvre. Just going to trim these threads as I'm going, or I will sew them in. Okay, we're coming up to the zip again. Easy does it. Over we go, not a problem, like a knife through butter. A couple of back stitches, needle up, let's turn. Okay, doesn't matter if you do the bottom or the top, I'm just going to do the bottom. Remember on this bottom we've got 4 layers of fabric. When we're stitching along the bottom and the 2 sides, we just need to be aware that we did put tacking stitches in for the pocket, so we need to always be, because we're using the foot as a guide, always be to the left of them tacking stitches so that they're not seen on the finished product. Don't worry if you clip them or you go the other side, you can always pull them out. We made a long stitch, it's easy to remove. To the end, easy does it. A couple of locking stitches, off we come. And the final bit. As I say, I'm not worried about this excess because I'm going to take us over to the overlocker, and we're going to overlock all the way around the outside. You can do this on your sewing machine. On this one, the stitch for overlocking is 11 and 12. They've got a different choice for either way. I prefer my overlocker. Sorry, I do lie, it's 30 and 31. Stitches, finish it off, needle up, we go. Just get my pin cushion. Turn around a little bit. Okay. So far, I'm absolutely loving my butterick. I can't find anything wrong with it. I got a little bit confused when I first tried to sew with it because I just came off my other machine. Every machine's got its own little bits. Right, before I go to the overlock, I'm just going to quickly snip off this zip. I don't need to. My overlocker can cut it off, but I try not to put too much through it. Okay, I'm going to move you back. There we go, you can see my little baby sitting here. This will get extremely noisy. Just flipping that over so I can see where the fabric needs to be cut. And it nicely takes the strip off for me. Okay, that's the noisy bit over and done with. Okay, so all I've done is whizzed around the outside and overlocked it. As I say, you can do that on the butterick, no problem. I've got the machine, I use it. I'm a little bit impatient when it comes to my sewing sometimes. Okay, just popping out them pins that we put in the inside to keep the zip together so that when we sewed it, it was holding the cushion square. And let's pop it out the right way. Just paying a little bit of attention to the corners so when they come through, they're nice and neat. What I normally use is this chopstick, which is actually for my hair. Fantastic for pushing corners out, popping bits out on toys. Yesterday I was making owl cushions. That was one of the first things I made on the butterick. It's something I'd done on my last machine, so I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. I ended up with a darling little blue owl cushion cover. Unfortunately, he's downstairs at the moment. Okie dokie. The zip on this is quite near the top, but that's perfect because I put this onto a garden swing I don't want it in the middle because it's going to rub on the fabric of the garden swing. Garden swings are expensive. Just trying to prolong it. Right, normally what I would do is give it a press. Lovely little handle on the back. But just for speed's sake, I'm going to pop the cushion pad in. Because the zip's at the top as well, and this being a garden cushion, it means that I can quickly remove it. There's none of the struggling like you do with the cushion covers on your sofa, where they seem to always have it in the weird place, or they've made it too small. Make your own cushion covers. Okie dokie. And there's my darling cushion cover. Lovely handle on the back so that I can carry it backwards and forwards. Pocket on the front for my book, my Kindle, my phone, whatever else I'm taking up the garden. Hope you enjoyed this.